So what are the 6 kitchen renovations for your HMO that simply aren't worth paying for? Hi, my name's Tony Law from Your First 4 Houses, and I teach people how to build a small property portfolio that generates a great income for them so they can give up the day job if they wish, because they're now financially free. If this is your first time here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click that bell notification icon so that you don't miss out on any of the free content that I give you each and every week. So I've been really looking forward to doing this video, to be perfectly honest with you, because before I became full-time in property, you may or may not be aware, I was very much full-time in kitchens. In fact, I ran a kitchen company for 21 years down here in Poole where I live, which is why I'm completely grey now. Now, I know I'm going to get shot down in flames with some of the things that I want to talk about in this video, but I want to share what I personally think are the 6 renovations or 6 types of renovations in a kitchen with an HMO that are simply not worth paying out for. So the very first one is recirculating fans. Obviously, every kitchen needs to have a cooker hood of some kind, and you may or may not be aware that pretty much every cooker hood that's out there, with 1 or 2 exceptions, can either be ducted outside or recirculate the air back into the kitchen once it's been cleaned. You don't want that, you've got to have it ducted outside. It's ever so easy for a kitchen fitter just to recirculate it, but make sure it is indeed ducted out. And please pick a cooker hood that has a high extraction rate. If you go online, you can check this by how much cubic meterage of air it moves out of the building. And sometimes people say it's a high rated fan, but actually you look at it and actually it's really not. So check that out, and it's worth paying just that little bit extra for. The second point is corner carousels. Now, I know corner carousels in kitchens sound like a fantastic idea, but honestly I think they're more trouble than they're worth. When you load them up with stuff, it can shift where the doors are positioned so they don't then kind of close properly. Obviously you're trying to fit a circle into a square, that's going to mean generally less storage. So I would scrub the carousels and just go for 2 conventional doors. Next, I've got high-end worktops for you. So things like Corian, granite, stone type worktops. I personally don't think it's worth spending the money out on those. I honestly think there are some absolutely superb higher end laminate worktops. Never get gloss, never get gloss. Higher end textured laminate worktops that look amazing. They can look like all of these sort of like granite stone type worktops if that's the sort of look that you're looking for, but I think they're a far more sensible choice in an HMO. Number 4, tiled floors. I've seen this loads of times. I honestly think tiled floors in the kitchen, this is just my opinion, is a bit of a mistake. They can be very expensive to lay down. If you drop something on them, they can, of course, crack. And if they do, it's a real pig to try to replace that one cracked tile. Honestly, just use a high quality vinyl. They look amazing. They're well, not far easier, but they're certainly easier to keep clean. And make sure that when the guy fits it, he doesn't run it up to the plinth. He actually runs it under the cupboard, and then the plinth comes down on top of the vinyl. And then they don't use those stupid little plastic plinth trims. Forget that. Honestly, they don't work. They go hard. Just use a silicone bead to seal between the plinth and the vinyl. Next I've got on my list is built-in microwaves. Now, these are more expensive. You generally tend to get a smaller capacity. If they go wrong, they can be a pig to change. And to be honest with you, I've seen them fitted in HMOs where they're simply too high, because often they're fitted above an oven, for example. In that scenario, if it's too high, someone puts some milk in there, they boil the milk up, it's way too hot, they pull it out, it goes on top of you. On top of the tenant, I should say. I don't know where you're going to stand with regards to any claims there. So just buy a freestanding microwave. They look amazing, sit on a worktop. Honestly, I think that's a better decision. This is the one I'm going to get a lot of flack for. Personally, I don't think dishwashers should be in HMOs. Because who's going to be responsible for filling them up? Who's going to be responsible for emptying them? And you can't tell me there aren't going to be times where you've got a clean dishwasher and somebody goes to put dirty washing up in on top of all the stuff that's just been cleaned. So in my opinion, don't put dishwashers into HMOs. Forgive me for that. By the way, if you're finding this video in any way helpful, it would be wonderful if you could take a moment just to click on that like button down there. It really helps me, if that's okay. So what do I think is worth spending money on in a kitchen in an HMO? Well, the first one is probably going to be really really obvious. I honestly think it is worth spending out on some great design. Some great design. I heard through the grapevine that B&Q kitchen designers have 5 days training on how to actually design a kitchen. 5 days training? Wow! If you spend out just that little bit extra, go to a kitchen design show and maybe give them the floor plans of what you want, they'll put together a fantastic design for you. You don't necessarily have to buy from them, do you? But they'll come up with a fantastic design because that can make all the difference. Number 2, put in better taps. Spend just that bit extra on taps. Let's be honest, if you've got a number of tenants in the property, that tap is going to get dramatically more use than in a normal kind of residential house. It's worth spending out on better taps, and if you want to save some money, put in cheaper sinks. Next one, 2 ovens, not 1, is my suggestion, because if you've got 2 single ovens, they almost take up the same amount of space, but you've actually now got 2 completely separate ovens, so if one does go down, you've still got a working oven. You'll still have 2 completely separate grills, which of course you won't have with a double oven. You'll have 2 different ovens that can do pizza cooking. Pizza setting is a setting that you can put onto ovens in case you're not aware. So honestly, just put in 2 ovens rather than 1. I honestly don't think you'll see much difference in terms of cost, but in terms of practicality in an HMO, I think it's much better. My 4th point on this is to use smaller units for tenants' cupboards. So by that, what I mean is, if you've got a run of wall units or an area where you're going to put your units for your tenants, let's imagine, for example, you've got, it's a 6-bed HMO, and you've got 3 meters to fill. It would be ever so easy, wouldn't it, to put 3 1,000mm wide units up on that wall. Of course, each double unit, each 1,000mm unit would have 2 doors, wouldn't it? My suggestion is instead to put 6 500mm units up on that wall space. Yes, it will cost you just a little bit more in terms of carcassing, but not that much more. It shouldn't cost you any more in terms of installation, but it means that each of the tenants got their own isolated unit, and so they can maintain and keep that clean, and it's just a better quality way to actually have the storage units in an HMO. Number 5 is to use tiled walls around above the worktops and below the wall units. Never ever paint the walls, in my opinion. It's far harder to keep clean. Use a really good looking tile. It's going to be a lot easier to maintain, and I think it just looks better. Another slightly controversial one here. If you have got white appliances in the kitchen, and by that I mean maybe you've got a white washing machine, maybe you've got a white tumble dryer, maybe you've got a fridge freezer or 2 in there, etc. Consider putting in white doors, or kitchens with white doors. You don't necessarily have to have white wall unit doors, but on the base have white doors. Why? Because you'll get an uninterrupted wall of white. So you have a white base unit, a white base unit, a white washing machine, a white tumble dryer, a white base unit. It just looks so much better if you're using white freestanding appliances. My last one, number 7, is to use and spend out on awesome lighting. Honestly, it makes a huge difference to put some really good quality lighting in the kitchen, but it absolutely does not have to cost you very much money. In my online property masterclass, I have an entire module on how to find, fund and fill an HMO. And so if you'd like to book a 10-minute phone call with me to find out if this course could be of benefit to you, simply click the link here or in the description box below to book a time slot.